Everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We're so happy you're here. I'm Mick Napier.
I'm Jennifer Estlin.
We're so happy that you're here, and we really appreciate it. We're going to be talking about a lot of things today and then have an opportunity to answer some questions, and we're going to introduce our staff. We've had some staff changes, etc. Um, but I just want to put it out there that while we're very excited to open and very excited to get the Annoyance back up, we're also still on thin ice a little bit. So it's still kind of be a mini miracle if we can get this thing going. And I just wanted to throw that out there because I really want this to be very transparent and very honest about where we are and how we're going to try to get this thing back up. So welcome, and we're going to talk about all of that.
So I'm going to just briefly go over what we'll be making sure to cover. Some of you sent in questions, and most of that was already covered with our topics, but we've also added some. And then we'll also have time for questions at the end. And we will try to keep this efficient as we go through all these topics. But what we intend to cover is the considerations that we have for opening and what we've had to look at and how we're making that decision. New staffing to introduce to you, diversity and inclusion, shows and scheduling, our new program that we'll be discussing, and ways to participate as we move toward opening. So starting off, I want to just real quickly go over an overview. Many of you we haven't seen since March 13th, 2019, which freaks me out. And we're so excited to see people. And I just want to briefly go kind of what happened over the last year. Basically, we feel incredibly lucky to have been able to survive, and that has been through a lot of participation in politics and talking to politicians and other groups. I've done more stuff in politics than I probably ever have in my life in the last 12 months. But we were able to, with groups like the National Independent Venue Association and the Chicago Independent Venue League, really work toward making sure that the Save Our Stages Act would get passed, and it did in December, which was incredible. Prior to that, we were able to get a PPP loan that was able to kind of get us through about the first 4 months of the pandemic, where between helping staff that needed help at that point still, as well as paying rent and other bills. Then we were able to get a grant called the Business Interruption Grant from the state of Illinois from the CARES Act funds. And that helped us get through till about January. Through all of that, we negotiated with our landlords, and that got pretty tricky. But we were able to finally get to a point where they gave us some relief from the rent for a period of time and then ramped it back up. So we're now at the point, and we have been for 3 months now, that we're back to paying full rent. And that also has something to do with decisions that we're making and how we're considering things. The biggest thing that is difficult right now is that even though the Save Our Stages Act passed on December 27th, it still to this day has not been distributed. Not one single theater in the entire United States or venue or anything has gotten that money. We've finally been able to apply as of last month, and we've been waiting now 3 weeks since that application. We've heard that they're going to start distributing the funding this week, but we also heard that last week. So we're just hanging on and waiting and waiting and waiting. But we also feel like a lot's going on since the CDC made their announcement about people who are vaccinated not needing to wear masks in public and not needing to distance. It's really changed things in the community. When you go outside, things feel different, and has sort of sparked us to look at wanting to resume operations and open, just under the assumption that and hope that we're going to get this grant and just go ahead and do it anyway in a very careful and sort of monitored way.
And I'd just like to throw it out there that we would not even be having this conversation if it weren't for Jennifer working her ass off this last year. I mean, it's been incredible to watch her do that. I also wanted to let everyone know that we're sitting on the main stage of the Annoyance right now. There's a green screen behind us because of a show called The Green Screen Show, Andy Rowell's show, and Sam McNerlin, our technical director, put an Annoyance logo behind us. So yeah, we're sitting right on the stage right now.
Yeah. Cool. So that's kind of how we survived and what's brought us toward wanting to have this town hall today and thinking about how we're going to work toward reopening. So as many of you know, we're in the bridge phase in the city of Chicago. The city of Chicago is different regulations from the state. And in this bridge phase, if people are vaccinated indoors in a venue, in a bar or restaurant, then they are able to you're able to have as many as you want. You don't have to worry about limiting it to 60%, and it's up to that bar or restaurant or whatever how they'll deal with distancing and masking. We feel really strongly that we would like the Annoyance to be a place that is for people who have been vaccinated and or people who have received a COVID test within 24 hours of when they would be trying to come in. And we feel really strongly about providing that atmosphere both for their staff as well as for our patrons, as well as for our actors, interns, et cetera. It's a tough choice in a way, because while the CDC did say everything they said, the thing that hasn't happened is there has not been a way for venues like us or restaurants or bars to verify vaccination. There are different companies, and I've spoken with different companies that are providing things like vaccine passes and other technology like that. But I also have met with the Chicago Department of Public Health and basically learned that there's only one database for the state that has access to all the different medical communities, the Walgreens, the CVS's, all the different places. They go to one state database. The private companies that are trying to do the passports, et cetera, don't all have access to everything. So the lady from the Department of Public Health pretty much said, yeah, you could hire one of those companies to verify vaccination, but they'll only have a limited amount, and you'd actually be doing the same thing as if you were asking to see someone's vaccination card. So she kind of recommended against that, but did also hint that the state is still in negotiation with a company out of New York that may have access to the state database. At this time, it's super political, and that's not happening yet. If it does, then we would hope to make use of that, but because we don't have that type of access now, we decided that we thought it was best just to require a vaccination card or a picture of it or that test. So that takes us to when? We had been looking at July because the city and the state both are talking a lot about the 4th of July as a projected goal. In the last 2 weeks, though, since the CDC's announcement, we felt like everything's progressing very quickly. From one day to the next, it's feeling different, and we're feeling like we could open slowly earlier than July. What we're looking at doing now is, excuse me, we're looking at starting out with a very soft opening, friends, family, people like you who are part of the community, to come in and just have the bar open so that we can kind of get our feet back under us. I don't know, many of you may remember we started with a new point of sale system right before the shutdown, so we need to relearn how to use that, and we need to kind of get things back going again, make sure the equipment's working, and spruce up the place a bit. So we'd like to probably do that for at least a week of just limited hours. Then the following week, we would start looking at also incorporating the theater. The theater has different requirements than the bar. In the theater, we still have to pay attention to distancing, and so people would be seated in their pod, like if you came with 4 people, and so you'd be at a 4-top, and then we'd have to distance that 4-top from everything else around it. So we feel like we don't really want to be doing our typical shows, our long-running shows and other types of shows that we do here while distancing is still happening. We feel like it makes more sense to do improvisational stuff. And we're looking at introducing a new thing that also addresses the vast need that there is for performance opportunities. Very unfortunately, so many of our fellow theaters have closed, and we're very aware of that. And we're very aware that there are a lot of people clamoring for places to perform. And so we wanted to try to address both things at once. So what we're looking at doing is having a thing called open stage. And what open stage would be is during this bridge phase time, we would pick a time of night when it would start, probably sometime around 8:30, 8 o'clock, something like that, and there would be half-hour time slots. People could sign up either as a group, like if you're working with a team, or you could sign up individually, and the slots would be designated, this is a group slot or this is an individual slot, and people would perform during that half-hour or 45-minute, whatever we make it, during that time period. And we would also invite people from the public to come watch open improv, open stage improv. As we move on and go back to scheduling regular shows, we'd like this to still be part of what we do. So after the last show of the night, we would still have open improv from probably till around midnight, and have that be something that the public could always come see. Free improv every night from Sunday to Thursday. On the weekends, we would still do our weekend shows.
We're trying to provide a balance, but we're trying to scale back in the number of shows we do. When we closed last year, we were doing 32 or 33 different shows a week. And it kind of drove us crazy, and there was a bit of quality control issues with that, because we really couldn't check them out enough and stuff. So we're wanting to scale back the number of shows, but we're wanting to open the stage to more people to provide that opportunity as well. And we don't know what this culture is going to be like with IO closing and with Playground and with Comedy Sports taking a break and with Second City going through all of its crazy ass changes. This culture in this city is going to be completely different. So we're going to have to adapt and figure that out as we go along.
Yeah. So as of right now, we feel like we'll probably look toward doing the bar opening stuff sometime around the second week in June. And we'll be able to nail that down more as we get our staff schedules created and also get the cleaning and the equipment repair done that needs to be done.
Yeah, this building right now looks like something you would come upon in the game The Last of Us, for any gamers out there.
Yeah, and that, by the way, we are, our core staff is spread out throughout the building right now, so look around in your Zoom squares and see if you can figure out where people are. We'll be introducing everybody, and they'll tell you where they are, but that's a fun game you can play right now. Okay, so, and then the last thing I'll say about that with reopening and scheduling is that it's changing constantly, and we just are learning to, that we're gonna have to pivot quickly and adapt quickly and change with the changes. Improvise.
Yes and.
Yes.
No. Yes and.
Okay. Next is staffing. So some people that you remember will be coming back, and you'll see some new faces in this building, and we're excited about all of it. And I'm going to introduce everybody and ask them to say a quick word. So I will start with Duke, who has been with us for many years and is going to be moving on to another job during part of his time, but also continuing to work with us as an associate director, helping out with choosing our season of plays and shows. And Duke, I'll turn it over to you to say hey.
Or maybe you guys can say where you are.
Yes, I am Duke Harbison. I'm also in the office here at the Annoyance. The lovely orange is the only orange in the building, I think, besides the basement. I will be working and excited to work on shows and developing shows when we can. But in the meantime, just happy to be in the building again, really.
Cool, thank you. Next, Tom. Tom will be returning as our production manager and helping with all things production. He will be your main liaison as far as anything having to do with shows, putting up shows, and help with casting and getting on stage and everything. Tom, you want to say hi?
For sure. I'm hiding out here in the dressing room with this beast and this bloody jacket. And literally, I've got to be honest with you, and I feel like I'm not alone in saying this, but I am terrified. I am still afraid. And I was very nervous just to come to this meeting, and I'm looking at all of your faces. And quite honestly, I am super excited to be a part of helping you all create what our community becomes, because it's going to need to become something, and I'm happy to help you and be a part of it. So thanks for coming.
Thanks, Tom. Before I forget, Sam, there's a poll that you have to like release. Can you do that so people can be responding as we're going through the meeting? There's a poll that Sam's going to be helping to put out to you guys that has questions about your comfort level with different things, and your responses to us will also inform us and help us to make these choices and decisions. Okay, moving on. Our beloved Pete will still be behind the bar. Pete, say hey.
Hey, I'm in the main stage, the green screen of the bar here. Not really, I'm really at the bar. I was gonna do a bit where I poured something, but I miss you guys all a lot, and I can't wait to be open again, and I can't wait to dance to Dua Lipa with Catherine. That's all I have to say.
Wonderful, thank you. Many of you may not have even known that right before we got shut down, we brought on Christopher Rivas as our new class administrator, and he worked for, I think, 11 days, and then we got shut down. But he's actually the only employee right now of the Annoyance. The rest of us all got laid off, but Chris has amazingly kept the class program going and helped out so much. Everybody's helped out, and Chris has been wonderful with keep doing all this online class programming, which has been amazing. Say hey, Chris.
Hi, everybody. Yeah, it's been weird to start a job and then be out of the building immediately. But it's lovely to see everyone's faces again. And I just wanted to say real quick thank you to everybody out there who, as we shut down in March, I saw what our classes looked like. And we had so many people donate their registrations or willing to hold on to their registrations in hopes that we could have classes again someday. Even though it was a really big time, a lot of people needed that money. So thank you to everybody who was able to do that kind of stuff. And I'm excited to get our classes going again. And like we started the online classes during this pandemic, we want to keep some of those going, maybe some of them in person, but expanding what we're offering to the community beyond just what we have been.
Yes, and also one of the poll questions is about classes. We know that that's a whole other thing, getting into a smaller room with people for 2 hours. So we're very much looking at different possibilities. We'll be excited to be putting online tomorrow a class that's going to be taught by Rachel Mason and Susan Messing, and that's going to be an online offering. We're looking at bringing back some intensive classes, probably much closer to September for that, when hopefully it's a lot safer and there's a lot more people vaccinated. Okay, moving on. Many of you know Joe Mcdaniel, who has been a wonderful bartender, but is now also helping us with marketing. He got a marketing degree during the pandemic, so he kept busy. Joe?
Hi, guys. First of all, I just want to say how grateful I am just to be back in this space in any regard. But yeah, as we move forward, I really look forward to, for those of you who are going to be involved in shows and pitching shows, to helping you get the word out and letting people know what we're up to. And that includes us as a theater communicating with you guys and letting you know how things are developing and about a lot of the new exciting initiatives that we're going to be moving forward with. I think it's going to be a really interesting next year for the theater. So just glad to be a part of it.
Cool. I think, Joe, you're in the corner of the bar, right?
Yeah, I'm in the corner. We got Chris is about 20 feet to my left, and then Pete's kind of behind me.
Sam, are you able to get on? Sam McNerland, who many of you know has worked on tech with us for a long time, is going to be taking over as tech director. And man, Sam's done such amazing work with the Green Show Live during the pandemic, and working with, experimenting with our equipment and seeing what we can do with it and what we need to get once we are able to, and just really is such a remarkable experimental thinker in regard to all things tech, and we're really super excited to have him be a part of our core team.
Hey everybody, kept it short, but I'm really excited to take on this role, and basically for the next year I'm going to be focusing mostly on stability and getting our stages up and running, and making sure that everybody who comes in the building to do a show is supported the way that they need to be supported. And I'm just super excited to see everybody. Thanks, everybody.
Cool. Possibly one of the biggest changes, at least for me, is that I'm going to be stepping back from the day-to-day operations at the Annoyance, and I'll be focusing more on strategic development for the theater as a whole, and working on different ways that we can grow inclusively and safely. So we have hired someone that we're super excited to announce today, who is going to be our managing director. Many of you possibly know him from seeing him in things like the Groundhog Day show, Gobbler's Knob. He's huge in this community as far as his talent, and in so many ways, both in production as well as in acting, singing, and just a super powerhouse that we feel super lucky to have coming to join us, and that is Jayson Brooks. I love seeing all the clapping, yes.
Oh, balls. Thanks for the under promise. Hey guys, my name is Jayson Brooks, and I am honored to be the new managing director here at The Annoyance. For those of you who aren't familiar with me, I just want you to know that I am sensitive to the needs of performers. I am no stranger to the performing world. And okay, look, I'll get to it. I'll try to keep it short and sweet. Everyone that you're hearing from today is a creative, myself included. But whereas everyone else's primary job is to create in some form or fashion, mine as managing director is to facilitate and fix and to worry. So I am asking for your help because we need everyone's vigilance, man. The path forward is going to be sticky, and no matter how you personally feel about reopening, society at large has decided that we are doing this, and that toothpaste is not going back into the tube. So if you're worried about COVID or any future remixes thereof, you're going to have to hermit up really quick, or we have to knuckle up and do our best. And it's option number 2 for me. Now look, The Annoyance is super special. Why? Because laughter is medicine, and the world is a very sick place. But over the past year, this place has become even more vital because we can feel the loss of spaces like the playground and comedy sports and IO and others. We have fewer platforms and stages on which to perform, and due to the safety restrictions, we are able to reach fewer people. So we got to protect what we got left. And as managing director, it is my job to protect this company. And in my view, the best way to do that is to protect the people that make up The Annoyance. You, our students, you, our performers, and you, our patrons. Look, I just want to laugh with people in a room again. I want to hear 100 people losing their minds from outside the theater and know that we are firmly on the road to all right. I look forward to meeting all of you in person as we journey forth. And please know that if you have any questions or concerns about anything, that I'm around. And my policy is if you have a problem, then we have a problem. So let's figure it out so that we can get back to the real work of what we do, which is making the medicine that people need. Thank you so much.
That was awesome. Thank you, Jayson. That was so wonderful.
Thanks.
Yeah, I think we have a super fantastic team I'm super excited about. There's one other person that I would like to introduce you all to that Chris Rivas knows, and some people who were able to participate in a workshop that we had last month were able to meet this person. She is someone that I've known for 40 years, and we went our separate ways for a long time, and I was so very excited to track her down again and find that she's as brilliant as always and interested in working with The Annoyance. And the person I'm speaking about is Tamara Sibley, and she is a casting director. She owns her own company, TMS Casting. She did a couple workshops with us last month about casting, and Tamara will be working with us as a casting associate, helping out with our casting. So for instance, the generals that we're having next month, Tamara will be weighing in on the video portions of that, and if she's able to, she'll also either attend virtually or maybe in town for some of the in-person ones as well. I so look forward to her ongoing mentorship. She's been somebody in my life that provided that at different times, and somebody that I just have huge respect for. So, Sam, do you have to unmute her? Can she do herself?
She should be able to.
Okay. Unmute and say, hey, Tamara. No? It could be. So I did get a thing saying that she was in traffic in LA and might be late. So we'll, I don't think she's on. So we'll come back and hopefully be able to introduce her, but you'll all love her. She's wonderful. She'll also be working with us on another program that I'll be telling you about in just a few minutes. I want to now go to discussing diversity and inclusion. And it is not at all lost on us that we are having this town hall on the eve of the death of George Floyd, the 1-year anniversary of that. So first I want to say that for the 33 years, 34 years that we've been in business, diversity and inclusion has always been extremely important to Mick and I. It's something that we've felt proud of, that we feel like a huge part of the community is able to come here and express themselves and feel safe in doing so. And we've worked hard always to make sure that that's true.
And sometimes we feel like we've been very successful about in the years, and sometimes we feel like we've fallen short. But we're always aggressing toward it.
Yeah, and I think over the last year, more than ever, what's become super apparent and like glaringly apparent is that it's not something that we can wait for. It's not something that we can just be welcoming of once it just so happens that BIPOC people walk in the door, or LGBTQ people walk in the door. It's wonderful that we're providing a safe place once that happens, but we need to be far more aggressive for that happening. To that end, we are working hard to make partnerships that will help to make it happen. As an example of that, we've reached out to a group called City Year. And what they do is they place different people in internships and provide opportunities for people all over Chicago. They also have a huge degree of access to the public schools. So we'll be working with City Year to make sure that we are getting into places that don't necessarily have access to arts, that don't have access to the Annoyance, and finding out, not only working with them with workshops, but also finding out in what ways we can make internships available, or just like, you know, weekend workshops, anything like that, so that people are aware of what they can do here, and hopefully that we'll be inviting more people in. Another partnership that I'm excited about exploring more and has already lent itself to looking forward to working with us is the Harold Washington Library. A great thing about having to participate in all these trillions of Zoom calls with the National Independent Venue Association and Civil is meeting people from different other theaters and organizations, one of whom is Jimelita Tillman. She runs the Harold Washington Public Library and their programming, and they do a shit ton of wonderful programming. And so I've reached out to Jimelita, and she's also going to be working with us to create workshop experiences and things that young, hopefully teenage people as well as young adults can come and do, both in the theater or having us go to other places to teach workshops and the like. We think that a big part of encouraging diversity has to be encouraging the education about improv and theater, so that people are aware what's available and what they can do. Also, with our casting, Tamara will also be helping us with this, making sure that we're constantly looking for, being careful and looking to diversity in casting. We recently just sent out a notice to all the shows that have been our long-running shows that will be among the first ones that we bring back, that our commitment to diversity is strong and that everybody needs to look at their casting. If you're going to be doing a show at the Annoyance, there needs to be a diverse representation of people. So we're looking forward to making sure that that's just something that's always top of mind. And then lastly, we're very excited that we, for the last 2 months or so, have been training a whole new staff of teachers to make sure that there's also diversity representation among those who teach what we do. So we've been doing some Zoom training, and then we'll also increase some online training. And then as we bring classes back, these teachers will both teach in our regular program as well as specialty workshops that they have suggested or asked about teaching and are excited to add to what we already have. I think that's that. Anything else?
No, I think that's good.
Yes. So let me move to now show scheduling. As I mentioned, we're going to kind of go slow. And among the very first show that will come back is a show that Mick is directing that he's been working on for now a month.
Yeah.
So, it has a cast of 12 people. The actual cast per show will be 6 people, and there will be a Friday night and a Saturday night cast. And the show has been created in such a way that those people can come in and out of the show fairly fluidly, and these will be paid positions, and it will be considered our Annoyance ensemble show, our weekend show. Then in addition to that, we'll be looking to bring back other long-running shows such as Fire and Beer, the burlesque show at a point when we're able to, and other things that you know that have run here for a long time. And we'll be exploring ways to make sure that either the opportunity is such that it provides enough production help and space and rehearsal and all that that it is a fair exchange, or that we do some sort of payout of a percentage of tickets. Some of the contracts that we had started working with probably about 6 or 7 months before we shut down, and we'll be looking at bringing those back and experimenting with other new ways as well. As far as our classes, we don't know for sure when we're going to be coming back with these. We're going to be introducing them slowly, and we're looking to the feedback that we're getting today, quite frankly, just to try to figure out where people are with comfort levels of being in small rooms with teachers. And I know you have thoughts about that too.
Yeah, we'd like to know from you, pardon me, how comfortable you all are. Like, if you would find yourself in a class, would you be comfortable about that? And our teachers as well, we keep asking them. And I think the culture just keeps changing and changing. So we're curious about, how that's going to work. We don't want people to feel unsafe. Right now, our only option, because our classrooms in the basement are so small, is to have like a class in the bar, a class in the small theater, and a class in the main stage. So that's only 3 classes, and we usually have 5 classes running at the same time. So that's all kind of in the air. If we had to do it now, we would have to have people socially distance so much that, like in the main stage, there could be a total of, I think, like 10 or 12 students with the teacher. In the small theater, 6 students with the teacher. And then in the bar, I think there can only be like 12 with the teacher. So we're interested in, finding that out. And Bruce Phillips, your hair is so long. It's insane.
Sorry about that.
That's all right.
Another thing that we're super excited to announce, and this has not been put out in the public yet, so you're the first to hear. We are very excited about starting a new comedy conservatory. It's the Comedy Conservatory of the Annoyance. And what this is a program that will be for improvisers who are, if you think of sort of like intensives on crack, we're going to be teaching acting, directing, improvisation, sketch writing, music writing, and improvising and video creation, things like how to create a good TikTok, and making sure that when people come into this program, at whatever point they are, by the time they leave, they will have professional headshots, resume, their own website or YouTube channel or TikTok site, etc., so that they have all the tools that they would need to go and get a career in comedy and look as though they're professional about how they're doing it.
Writing packets, business knowledge, and as you said, headshots, all of that. So we want to make it very comprehensive, and we're not sure how long it will be. We're thinking right now kind of at 6 months.
8 months.
6 to 8 months?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and so we'll be putting out the marketing materials of this during the summer, hopefully by July, and looking to start with a first class of 12 people in September. If you know people who you think might be interested in this, I hope that you'll let them know about it. We'll be putting a lot on social media about it once we've got all the materials together, and we've been through the last year, or the last, I guess, 6 months, been working with different people on the curriculum, and we'll be starting to put together our teaching staff. And I think it's something that doesn't really exist right now as far as someone wanting a career in comedy, either performing, directing, or writing. So we're real eager to get that going. And before I move on, I want to see if, is Tamara with us now? Yeah, Tamara, say hello to everybody. I gave you a fucking fantastic intro and you missed it.
Okay, I'm unmuted now. Okay, let me see if I can also be seen. I just see I'm not sure why I can't be seen, but I probably can be heard, right?
Yes.
Okay, so hello everyone.
Put your camera on.
Let me see, maybe that's it right there. Okay. Woohoo, here I am, fresh off the road. Here I am, fresh off the road. Sorry for the delay, but LA traffic is just LA traffic. So hello, and I'm Tamara Sibley. I'm casting director, primarily for theater and film. I am so happy to be a part of this town hall meeting and a part of this whole new venture with the Annoyance. I'm so excited, so excited. We did a workshop maybe about a couple of months ago, and it was so much fun. And so I do look forward to extending this and having more connection with those of you who are interested in performance or film or for whatever you're interested in. We're going to go through the whole casting. I caught the last part of it where you were talking about headshots and packaging the actors and whatnot. Is that correct? Is that what I heard?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So you can now put a voice with a face and a name. Here I am.
Thank you so much, and thanks for.
Sure.
I hope you didn't get a ticket or anything. Thanks.
No,
for
I
back.
didn't. I didn't. I tried to, beat my face a little bit, so I didn't look like I just came off the road. But
You look great.
So
yeah. So anyway, we're super lucky to have Tamara as part of our group, and looking forward to finding all the different ways that we can work together. And I think I've gone through everything in my list. So we'd love to open it up to if you have questions, and I guess the best, you can put questions in the chat or raise your hand. Yeah, Sam, why don't you get on and read off the poll results so that people are aware what that is. Share it. Oh, you can share it? Okay. Interesting.
wow, very cool.
So good to see. Like, I put these in order of least restrictive to most restrictive. So it looks like the least restrictive is what people are most comfortable with, which is great. It will help us do all this more quickly.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. So we're going to look at the chat and see if we have questions. Hang on. Will a summer intensive be offered? I think we're going to try to do a summer intensive probably in August or September. And a lot of that is so many people come from out of town for summer intensives, and we would like to try very much to avoid a repeat of what happened last year with people buying plane tickets and, you know, getting screwed on refunds and whatnot. We thankfully were able to provide refunds to everybody that asked for one and was needing one for our intensives as well as our regular class program, and that's super important to Mick and I. So we just want to make sure that we don't set up a scenario where we can't do that. Will the improv program look similar to how it did before in terms of class curriculum? Yes, it will be much the same, except with different teachers. And then I expect that we'll be also offering more different types of workshops more regularly as part of our regular curriculum. We also feel like there's something to be said for the Zoom thing. Some people I know may still feel uncomfortable coming into a classroom. Plus, we're also now able to reach out to people who aren't in Chicago. So we're looking forward to also employing some of the teachers who used to teach here and left, since we're able to do it, you know, with streaming all over the world. So that will probably continue to be a part of the program.
There's a lot of stuff that Jennifer and I, pardon me, over the last year, like looked back, like it gave us a chance to just step back and look at all this. And some of the stuff like we did, we were thinking like that was pretty good. But other stuff we were thinking like, what the fuck were we thinking? So we're kind of like looking at all of that and class, the times, like maybe we do 2-hour classes, or maybe some classes are an hour, maybe some classes are 4 weeks. So we're kind of looking at all of that in a new way.
Thank you. Sorry, my computer's about to die. Okay.
Whoa.
How will Annoyance focus on accessibility and reopening? Will there continue to be virtual shows and classes or hybrids like live streaming shows as part of the norm? Yes. Another thing that I'm super glad to have Sam's help with is that we're going to be, my hope that with part of the grant, should we get it, is that we will be able to upgrade equipment. And so we want both the small theater as well as the main stage to be streamable, to make sure that not only people that are unable for whatever reason to come into the theater, but people that are unvaccinated have a choice. They can watch stuff streamed.
As most of you probably know, right as the pandemic started, we did a kind of a lock-in show here, a quarantine show, where we locked everyone in the theater for a week, and we created a show in a week. And I'd kind of like to, and we streamed it then, and like 500 people saw it. And I would love to do things like that again. I would stream them. And this green screen that is behind me right now is amazing, and that's a wonderful show. So it's kind of opened up some opportunities in that way. And I've done 3 or 4, and I think Susan's on here, Susan Messing. I think she's done some of these too. Like 3 or 4 international online workshops in the last year. And while it's very hard to sometimes look at improv online, I kind of turned it into a question answer session and then had some improvisation, but had a lot of success with that. And it opens up like another market for us and another opportunity. So yeah.
If we're a show that's looking to talk about what returning looks like, is this something we should start communicating with Jayson directly now, or Jayson and Jennifer, or Tom, or some other combination? So what's going to happen over the next month and a half or so is that Jayson and I will be working to, Jayson doesn't even know this completely, we'll be working together, kind of sharing that. So anytime somebody communicates with me via email, he'll get a copy of it also, and so that he's able to see kind of how the flow goes. And then side note, this is a weird thing that also happened during the pandemic. There's a guy in, where's he from? Not Finland, I'm blanking, another country far away, who is creating a system of administration of specifically improv theaters. He's a guy that is really involved in improv, has his own improv theater, and hates how much time he spent in the admin of it. So he's creating this system, and we're part of the pilot group for that, which I'm real excited about. So
Was it Norway?
no, I can't believe I can't think of it. Anyway,
Amsterdam, maybe?
no,
No, it wasn't the Netherlands.
Can you hear me? It's Copenhagen.
the system is called Kulmas.
Someone said Copenhagen.
Culmas.
Copenhagen?
Oh, I don't know if I was supposed to say that. Anyway, it's a system.
I remember, it was Kentucky.
Yeah. So that's super exciting, but what that does is also make it so that we're trying to figure out the best way so that we don't have to have Jayson learn, here's exactly how we do this. Now forget about it because we're doing this other way. So we'll be working together for we're supposed to go live with this new system in August, September. So Tom, Jayson, and I will be working very closely together on bringing shows back, and you'll communicate with all three of us. So that was a long answer.
The future of improv comedy is online, which is why the company that owns Grand Theft Auto also bought Second City. Someone has to train the Twitch streamers. That's from Chris. That's a great statement.
It is a great statement. Agreed. Yeah, it's weird too. I feel like I have an email and sometimes a meeting weekly with a new company that's trying to be the company that gets all the comedy places together online. So far, haven't seen one that's kind of succeeded in getting it all or doing it right. So we're continuing to look those over, but for now we're kind of continuing to use Twitch and develop that channel. Is the plan for the conservatory to have a prerequisite? No. So the first couple weeks of the training in the conservatory will be about getting everybody on the same page. So for some people, there may be some repetition, but it will be sort of individually learning where these 12 people all came from and what they've got going on, and then adjusting accordingly. How will the Annoyance preserve its beloved culture of despair and nihilism while promoting all these hopeful developments? We will fail at this. No, Mick's still in charge. The real answer is that I think we can maintain our spirit. We always have. I mean, like a lot of this has been in our minds for 35 years, inclusion, et cetera. And we've always been able to find that balance. And while things become more sensitive in comedy and a little more touchy, we can always find that subversive quality and keep it kind of real and keep it kind of on the edge in a weird way. I don't know how to do it is the answer. And I don't even know if it's a serious question, but it's always on my mind. It's always on my mind to keep that grit of the Annoyance alive. I almost feel like that's my main job. From Sammy, I know it's far too soon to think about this, but will the Annoyance do any partnerships with itinerant improv theaters, like a weekly, monthly slot or something else? It's certainly something that we're open to, and man, we get it. Like, they're not only have the theaters lost their space, but their family has lost their space, just like if we were to lose our space, our family would have lost that. So it's certainly something that we're open to, and you know, I think it will be, each individual theater is going to be going through their choices and decisions about whether or not they want to go and be itinerant and just work at other spaces, and they have to make decisions about if their branding works with us and things like that. But even just today, and I think they're on with us right now, John Stoops from the Revival Theater and Lily Francis from Laugh Out Loud Theater, the three of us have been sort of helping each other with all these grants and everything throughout the pandemic. And we were talking today about sharing resources and possibly sharing auditions so that we're able to go to the south side side's able to go here, and then the suburbs can come into the middle and all of that. So Hi, John and Lily. Thank you for also working with us always.
Yeah, and also I'll just add to that, there's a lot of other cities that have a lot of problems in their community with competition. Some cities, won't let someone improvise at another theater if they improvise in their own theater, and they compete and they fight and they bicker. Toronto, New York, LA, and Chicago used to be like that. And Andrew Alexander and Sharna Halpern and myself, Andrew owned Second City, Sharna owned IO. We decided 25, 30 years ago not to do that. And while we've had successes and not successes in that area, we've always maintained that spirit. And I would love to continue that spirit with any developing theater and anyone else in the community. Because I think the stronger that we can make the improv and sketch community in Chicago, the more chances are that people will move here to study. It was sad that IO left, because IO was, one of many theaters that brought people to the city to study improvisation. So I'm all for building that community as best we can. And this isn't bullshit.
What is the preferred method for those submitting video auditions for the upcoming generals? To your email? Oh, so you need to send them by June 12th, and you will be submitting them. Should they send them to Joe at the Annoyance? Send them to joe@theannoyance.com. And then we will distribute, we'll be putting them on the back end in a way that everybody, the auditors, can be looking at them. And for the generals, we have, we're excited. We have people from other theaters coming. We have people representing different shows at the Annoyance, and then also people who are our resident directors at the Annoyance, as well as some other people who are going to be helping us. So we'll have a nice, it'll be like you're performing to a house full of more than just 2 people. So that'll be nice.
Chris Gutierrez, let Sharna set the programming up for after midnight on Mondays. That will be lovely to see in your theater, Chris.
Will students who didn't request a refund for classes that were canceled due to the pandemic be automatically enrolled in the next offering of that class? Not automatically enrolled, but what we will do is reach out to you and say, here's what's coming up. Let us know what you want to be in, because your schedule might have changed. So we're not just going to put you in the same thing. We want to allow you to choose what class you'll be in.
Where are we?
Here.
Right here. Mm-hmm. Will inclusion be a focus of classes, in particular the conservatory? Will scholarships be offered to diverse candidates?
I do want to do a scholarship offering. And some of this is going to be learning from our part on the audience for this conservatory program. We don't have a great idea yet, at least not until we start putting out the word and putting out the marketing, what kind of demand there's going to be for this program. We're hopeful that it will be something that there's some demand for and then grows a lot over the years. So right now we're just hopeful to find 12 people that we can have as a first class. And if within that there are students who would benefit from a diversity scholarship, then yes, we can do that. And yes, it will be a focus. I'm not going to say it's going to be a focus of the conservatory, because in both, I know my opinion, Jason's opinion, Mick's opinion, it's a focus period. We get that it needs to be a focus period, so it is.
Will there be a waiver of liability for performers or patrons? I don't think we're leaning that way, are we?
So I've sat through 4 sessions with the lawyers for the creative arts, specifically about pandemic stuff. And they pretty much said, yeah, you could do a liability waiver. It's unenforceable, but if it makes you feel better, do it. So I don't think we'll be doing it, just because really liability waivers, what will happen, and what they said will happen, is that someone will sue and that will set a precedent and everything will go from there. But the sort of belief is that there's it's almost impossible to track down where someone got COVID. So for someone to say that they specifically got COVID by attending this show or that class or sitting in this chair or that chair is close to impossible, and probably not worth the time and difficulty it would be to safely store all the liability waivers. and information on customers.
Copenhagen, Denmark. Thank you, John. Thank you, Sam.
Thank you.
Ryan Livingston, what have I missed?
Nothing.
A career?
About digital and video content.
What's up?
Somebody's asking, moving toward video and digital content.
Have we passed that?
It's at the bottom.
Okay.
Okay.
Will the process of submitting shows be changing? Maybe Tom can take that.
I would love to. And the answer is, I don't think so, but maybe. The truth of the matter is they're talking about, and I know Jennifer briefly mentioned this earlier, of creating a real Annoyance season. And so that would be starting with the show that Mick is doing. On the process, who we're bringing back, when we're bringing back, we don't know. So I imagine at the moment, the actual process of submitting your show will look remarkably the same until we figure out it doesn't work. So.
Yeah, and the only thing I'll add is that one thing that we've been tossing around is rather than having it be a rolling submission that goes throughout the year, having a time period of like maybe 2 months during which people can submit their ideas for that year. It doesn't have to be completely fleshed out with who's going to be in it, but they can submit their ideas, and then we would choose the season for that year so that people have a lot of advance notice, know when they need their casts to be available, and so on. That is so not Annoyance. It kind of rubs against the way that we've always worked, but we also feel like we need to look at the way we've always worked and see if it's working.
Thank you, Sarah, who says this is all very exciting. It is. Thank you. What's the most effective way to help the theater at this in-between time?
Do you like to paint? We're having a company come in and do a deep cleaning, which will be awesome. But then after that, this place looks like it's been unattended to for a year, and we need to do some painting and sprucing up. So I'll be posting on the Annoyance Facebook and Instagram and in all the different groups opportunities when we'll be here, and if you're vaccinated and don't mind picking up a paintbrush or scrubbing a toilet or whatever it is that needs to be done, we'd love to have you help us.
Yeah, if you haven't been here in 6 months and you come back and you just look at it and go, my God, I can't believe how fucked up this place is. How much paint, it goes on and on. Oh, well, thank you for thanking us.
Thank you, Julie.
We're going to try our best. Moving toward video and digital content, will the Annoyance expand to receive video sketch / series pitches and produce digital / film content? Would love nothing more. And that's all about just us getting back on our feet, and it's about money.
And Joe's got some stuff, some initiatives on this. Do you want to talk about that? Sorry to put you on the spot.
Joe's walking up here.
Sorry, I had to vacate my spot in the Zoom to make room for somebody else to get in.
Oh,
but
really?
yes, we're gonna hopefully be creating all kinds of digital content, both to promote shows that are happening live and using that as basically advertisement, but also ways for you to get more eyes on the work that you as performers are going to be doing. And additionally, we'll be building a catalog of in-house Annoyance developed digital content for which we will be coming to you and accepting submissions and ideas from you for that as well. So that's something that I personally am incredibly excited about and look forward to getting the ball rolling on very, very soon. Yeah.
Thank you. That was a much better answer than mine, and a much more exciting one, and much more hopeful one. So that's very good.
I'd like to do it. Do you have a cost in mind for the program? Oh, we'll reach out to you. Just send an email to jennifer@theannoyance.com. When will the Annoyance be offering internships again? So you might have noticed that I skipped internships in the big discussion. And part of that is we're trying to figure out the best way to work with interns. Last summer, a lot was brought up during the time of sort of all the different theaters being taken to task. And one of the things that was brought up not so much for us, but we still felt like we needed to hear it, was different internships programs not being equitable, not properly providing for people and compensating people for their time. So we've gotten different answers from different people. Some people think, you know, just skip it, don't do an internship program, just have paid people. Other people feel like, you know, that's the only way I ever would have been able to handle getting classes. I couldn't really go to work for you, but I could do it one night a week or something. Currently, what we're talking about, and I feel like might be our best bet, is to make sure that when people are interning, they're essentially interning at a rate of $15 per hour minimum wage, so that their number of hours equals what the classes would cost. And we'll probably create a system of tracking that so that people would probably put at least a minimum of hours in first before they actually enter the internship program. Still figuring out the details of this. If you have an idea about it, we welcome it. Send it to mick@theannoyance.com, jennifer@theannoyance.com, jason@theannoyance.com, and to Chris@theannoyance.com, our class administrator. He will be administering the whatever intern program we have.
Will Tom, this is from Sam Locke, will Tom put on the abominable snow monster head?
Is he doing it?
I don't know.
We can't find Tom.
We can't find Tom. He did?
Good. Okay.
Okay. Can we move on? Was it fun? What's the most effective way, this is from Andy Rowell, what's the most effective way to help the theater at this in-between time? We have already answered that question. You have the same problem you have when you improvise, you don't listen.
Thank you, Joe Kovac. We can't wait to see you. It's been over a year. Love a good painting party. Love people who can paint. Thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Will there be any cool new technical options available for shows going forward? Well, with Sam McNerland, my guess is yes. I don't know if many of you saw the shows that we did right before we closed, where we started using the projector technology, and I thought that was pretty amazing, and we're excited about using more of that. We're also interested in making sure that there's a space, whether it be the small theater or a space downstairs in the basement, that is always available for people to use as green screen, so that people can come here and create videos and have a space that's already set up to do so. Safety measures. So during the pandemic, when we thought we might reopen, we had hand sanitizer stations installed throughout the space, and those are still here. So there's not, you can't go very far without seeing one. There's one at the exit of an entrance of each theater, by the restrooms, at the bar, and at the door as you come in or leave. So we will keep those up, and we'll be adjusting our cleaning schedule so that it's more often, making sure that we're watching as people get up from their tables, things like that. And also just making sure that when we use sanitation sprays, that we keep them there for the necessary 2 minutes so that they actually can do what they're supposed to do.
This is an interesting suggestion. If you guys can, from Sierra, set up a Venmo or something, people can donate their leftover Venmo credit.
That's awesome.
Can you email us about that? I don't think we know about that.
Yeah, I mean, the thing that immediately jumps to my mind is that would be a great way to build a scholarship fund as well.
Chris Gutierrez, Core Power Yoga would pay their interns and give them a discount membership. That's why Core Power Yoga is out of business.
Are they?
I think they are. I'm not sure. I think a lot of them are.
That's actually, though,
it is
a usable idea, that there can be a combination of pay as well as a discount on the program.
Rich Sohn, what's the most effective way to help the theater at this in-between time? The most helpful way for you is to stay in Los Angeles and never come back here. That would help us a lot. We doing hybrid stuff?
I assume you mean like both streaming as well as live, and yes, we're going to be, the Green Show Live will be doing that, has already done that for one show, and we're looking to do more of that. We almost got into a deal with a company that was kind of all about that, and then at the last minute pulled out of it because it just didn't seem right for comedy. It was more about music. But yeah, we're exploring different companies and ways that we can do that. Part of it is we need to be able to grow our audience, like our streaming audience. And it's a huge opportunity to grow it internationally. And if we want to see if there's ways that we can partner with other companies or something so that their people see our stuff, our people see their stuff, things like that.
Well, this is a question for Joe. What exactly does Annoyance Theater general auditions mean? Are we auditioning for one show, or are we being placed in various shows?
Hi, I think Jen, you can kind of answer this question with me, I think, but as we've talked about, we're going to be kind of building an Annoyance season, and there's a whole lot of new opportunities that are coming up, as well as all kinds of showcases, solo showcases, and also we kind of want to know where you guys are at, and we were curious to find out who was still interested in even being in Chicago and performing and doing improv and making shows. So we have our resident directors that are going to be at these auditions. They're the people who usually direct the shows that happen in-house. So basically the people who are going to be casting these shows over the course of the next year, even if we don't know exactly what those shows are yet, are going to be there watching you as you audition. And the same thing goes for if you're submitting a video audition. Everyone will see those auditions, and every audition will be taken equally seriously, whether it's a video audition or if you're here in person.
And even if you've, even if you've performed here before and you're thinking, why would I need to audition? There's some new people here. There's some new people that will see you. And also, we want to kind of check out who's in town. We want to check out what your solo stuff is for showcases, so that we don't have to really have a separate audition for showcase people. So we can kind of get it all done at once. Isn't that true as well?
That makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, also, expanding the showcase opportunities is also something sort of at the forefront of my mind. You know, it's always been sort of dictated to us. So like the Just for Laughs will come into town, or Saturday Night Live, or whoever is coming to town, and they want you to do a showcase. I want to also find opportunities to showcase people to local casting agents. They indicated, and we started doing showcases with them just before we shut down, and they indicated that it was so welcome to them and so huge for them to be able to see people that they hadn't yet seen. So we're going to be looking to do more of that and letting people, using these auditions as a way to see possible showcase talent.
What?
Core Power is open.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry, Chris. I think the one in Lincoln Square closed down. Pretty sure. Will level 6 be coming back?
Don't know. We'll talk.
Are you guys changing your chicken fingers again? I think we might. We're going to like look at the whole menu and see. In addition, will there be $3 pizza that Pete and Tom will upsell on Fridays? Yeah, because we have a pizza oven, so we're going to make pizzas.
We also have to sell food, so.
From Joe Kovac, will Mick still be doing card tricks at the bar? Yes, after a couple of scotches.
Are we at the end?
I think we're at the end. I think that's it. What's the most effective way to help the theater at this in-between time? This is from Sam Locke. Make puppets that no one gives a fuck about. That's what I would do. All right. We thank you all for coming so very, very much. We really do.
Thank you.
Very sincerely. We're very excited because right now the staff here in the building, we're going to have like our first cocktail together at the bar. And we're very excited about that. And we're very happy that you joined us. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
And let's give Jennifer a hand. Isn't she fabulous?
Thank you to you. Thank you to all our staff, everybody. Thank you, everybody, for their patience and for keeping us in your hearts and minds after a really tough year.
Thank you so much.